Hello and welcome to Go Big Orange Talk with myself, Mr. Smokey Vaughn, and my partner in crime here. Let's introduce him. How you doing? That's absolutely right, Mr. Happy Hour. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go Big Orange Talk is back on the map again. Sorry for all of the time wasted the last 3 weeks, but again, we'll go ahead and kill that off. And guys, just listen to the Dixie Bandit Live, baby. I tell you what, man, I don't usually come on here and smack talk Alabama or anybody, but I tell you what, Alabama, y'all about damn stupid. You hear that Tennessee part right there? It says Tennessee. I don't think that's regarding anything that Alabama's got to offer. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get to it. And, go ahead and give it a laugh, everyone. All right, tonight we are going to do 2 segments and a closing segment here. We're going to kick it off with Mr. Happy Hour. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, which coach from Tennessee, is it going to be the basketball coach? Is it going to be the football coach? Or is it going to be the baseball coach? Which one is going to win a natty first? He's going to kick that off, and then I am going to go with the top 25 on the floor to ceiling, and then we'll conclude on that. So, Mr. Happy Hour, go ahead and kick us off, buddy.
So, the question that came up is, who would win a national championship first at Tennessee, or for Tennessee in the more recent modern era? Would it be Tony Vitello? Would it be Josh Heupel? Or would it be Rick Barnes? Man, I would have arguably said Rick Barnes this year, but I don't know if they're going to get hot at the right time. I really don't. When they get beat by the stupidest reasons possible. You had that one game, I think it was against Kentucky, where they just could not make a layup to save their lives right there near the end. And then the couple of losses that you've dropped here in the last 3 weeks or so. So, I mean, it could happen. It's just a long shot at this point. But then you got Tony Vitello and the baseball team this last season, who dominated the majority of the season, was number one and the favorite going in, and then lost it. So I want to say they finished second, maybe by the end of the year. So I think they'll probably, and then they had great recruiting on this offseason. So I think they'll probably be. I would argue that they're probably going to start off at number 2 again for the 2023 season, but definitely got to be either top 3 or top 5 for sure. If they're not in the top 5, then whoever is ranking clearly is a joke. But I would argue that they're top 2, or that they're ranked second, at least top 3. But and then you got Josh Heupel in the football program. I think they're ranked 10. Okay, so yeah, Tennessee baseball program is ranked 2. I think that's where they'll be, especially with the way that they recruit this past off season. Now, Josh Heupel, they finished 6th behind Bama, which is a joke. And arguably, you could argue TCU should have been ranked ahead of them, regardless of what their record was by the end of the national championship. So I kind of think that's messed up. They lost in a way more embarrassing fashion. I mean, that just lets you know that the people that they're playing and the people that Michigan and all them are playing is a joke compared to who Georgia plays, who Tennessee plays, Bama plays, and all that. So, but we're not going to open that again. So, and then I think the AP Poll has them at 10 for the 2023 season. ESPN, I think, came out with a poll having them at 6, and then you had Bama at 4. I think Michigan or Ohio State at 2 or 3, one of the, however you want to do that, and then Bama at 4, and then Penn State at 5. I don't understand that in the least bit, but so, but yeah, so, and then they had great recruiting. Like, I don't think people understand. And then they did well with the transfer portal. I don't think people understand that they recruited in the areas that they needed. They needed to strengthen that linebackers room. They needed to strengthen the receivers core room, which they did with the acquisition of Dante Thornton, and I think they got somebody else. And they needed tight ends. They got McAllen Castles in the portal, and then they have what is his name? You had
Hey, real quick. Hey, I just wanted to add something. The polls that are out right now, it's not final. It's not final right now, but that's what they're predicting it'll be. But yeah,
no, you're fine. I mean, I knew as much, but I don't have it in front of me, so I wasn't really sure. It was just something that I read earlier today. But I mean, and then you had the acquisition of Gabe Judy Lawley, and then I think Keenan Peely, both from BYU. Keenan Peely was a captain on the defense as a linebacker, starting linebacker. He'll be here for 1 year. I think he's going to be a starting linebacker. And then I think you're going to also have Aaron Beasley, probably the other linebacker. I think Gabe Judy Lawley comes in and starts immediately. He had one of the better years for a defensive back in all of college football, from what I was reading and some videos that I listened to. He's also from BYU. He was one of the better stat guys on the BYU team as well. So I think those two comes in and starts, makes an immediate impact. I mean, and you got acquisitions all over the place, and then you had Jamie Campbell, I think is the kicker's name. I think he's going to come in and be the new kicker. I think he has a little bit more of a better leg than oh my God, man. A lot of the guys that it's weird whenever you go to talk about them and you can't think of their names, but Chase McGrath. Sorry. I don't know why the name. You would think with him kicking the winning field goal against Bama, you would never forget that name. But I think Charles Campbell has a slightly better leg than Chase McGrath. So I'm kind of excited about that. But anyway, my pick, I would love to say the football team, man, but I honestly think Tony Vitello is going to get it done first. I think Josh Heupel has a chance this year, but I think if they can't get it done, it's going to be because of lack of recruiting, and they gotta hit that next tier. And once they hit that next tier, this coming up season, I think they're definitely going to win a national championship. It's not to say I don't think that Joe Milton can't get it done. I believe he can. I think defensively, I think the team's going to get better as a whole. I think the defense is going to look better. I think the offense can look better. but I think as a whole the team is better. But I don't know if the defensive backs is going to be what can get it done. I think the offense will score the points. It's just the matter, can the defense bend but not break? Are they just durable enough to hold the opponents within what we score? And that's going to be the deciding factor more than anything. And I think, like I said, I think Josh Heupel has the chance, but I think Tony Vitello does it first.
And I think that we got a winner. Absolutely. No, I have to totally agree. I think that the baseball squad is definitely a little bit ahead of us for sure. I think that, they're a little bit ahead of the football. I mean, if basketball, if they would get themselves in gear, they would be good. But, it's just like you say, man. I mean, they've lost like two that they should not have lost. They lost to Missouri. They lost to Florida. I mean, those are just tough losses. They lost to Vanderbilt too. I believe that's like almost 3 in a row. And if I'm not mistaken, tonight they play Alabama. Alabama has jumped up to number 1 in basketball. Oh God. But yeah, they've made it up there to number 1, and I'm looking it up real quick while we're talking here. I do think that they are going to be playing tonight. The Bama and Tennessee, I'm pretty sure do play tonight. I'm looking it up, and yep, today at 7:00, it's Alabama versus Tennessee. Alabama's ranked number 1 at 22-3, and Tennessee number 10 at 19-6. It's going to be a good game. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, hey, the upside is that it's in Tennessee, but we'll see. Comes on again, guys. That will be at 7:00, and that will be airing on television on ESPN. And that's going to do it for that first segment there. And Mr. Happy Hour, definitely appreciate you coming in on that one and giving us the lowdown on that. Before we jump into our second segment, I did want to first go ahead and remind everybody to like, share, and subscribe to the channel here. We definitely would appreciate it. We have 23 subscribers at this point and about 70 followers on Facebook, which that's a huge improvement. We slacked off for a little bit, but again, just like, share, subscribe, and let's make this thing go viral. Let's do it. Now, I'm going to touch point on what ESPN let out earlier today. The floor, ceilings, and biggest variables for the top 25 teams in the NCAA football for 2023. Look, guys, the college football offseason is painfully long. It's over the course of 7.5 months between national title game and week 0. We talk to ourselves pretty much quite often about this, and the first time of the potential Alabama starting quarterback throws an interception in spring ball. Now, guys, I'm going to jump down here. 2023 recruiting is huge, but now listen, Georgia at number 1. The ceiling for Georgia, of course, they've got them at 12-0. The floor, they've got them at 9-3. Some of the biggest variables that they are going to step on is that quarterback Stetson Bennett is gone, and while his replacement, be it junior Carson Beck, sophomore Brock Vandagriff, or redshirt freshman Gunnar Stockton, will inevitably have been much more well-touted than Bennett was coming out of high school. The bar is high, especially with a new and old offensive coordinator in Mike Bobo. Now, guys, I think that's a big variable, losing that offensive coordinator and getting Bobo back in there.
And then losing your starting quarterback.
Yeah, I really think that they're going to have a hard time getting that put together. So, you know what? I do think that the floor would be 9-3. I agree with that totally because, I mean, not just because I'm a Tennessee fan. I think Tennessee's got a great shot. Them coming to Knoxville and not being in Athens, and then we're going to be pissed off, of course, about what happened last year and biting people's heads off, I'm sure. Now we got number 2 coming in with Ohio State. Their floor is 9-3 and 12-0 is their ceiling. I don't agree with that floor. I think their floor could be much worse. I think it could be 7-5. I really do, guys.
Tennessee?
Ohio.
Oh yeah.
I think that they could definitely be 7-5. You know, losing the quarterback. You know, it'll with C.J. Stroud being gone. They're both. You know, it was a top 100 recruit. You got a few different ones. Let's see here. Find plenty. Looks like Marvis Harrison Jr. and running backs Trayvon Henderson. They're all returning for the Buckeyes, but perhaps more importantly, second-year defensive coordinator Jim Knowles will have both more familiarity and a star power end JT. Linebackers Tommy and Steele. But I think they're going to have a rough time. I think CJ made that team what they were, most definitely. And then coming in at number 3, we got the Wolverines. Man, they're 9-3 floor, 12-0 ceiling. I think that could be another possibility. I think 9-3 is pretty good for them. The reason I put, Ohio down below is because I just think that CJ made that whole team. I think that was his team to be a part of. Some of the biggest variables for Michigan is going to be the pass rush, the third of the 3 teams in the 12-0 to 9-3 range. I think that's going to be a big, big problem for them. J.J. McCarthy, definitely.
It's returning.
Huh? Yeah, he's returning again. I think that's a big one for them, and I do see that their floor is 9-3. I definitely do, and 12-0, definitely.
I think that they should be ranked number 2.
Yeah, they're going to end up. They'll end up being there because they're going to beat Michigan this year. I don't think they're going to let that happen again.
I hope not.
Nah,
they wouldn't be able that.
Yep.
Mm.
Now Florida State coming in at 8-4 and ceiling is 11-1. I would have to agree with it. They've got a 19% of getting there. I think that 11-1 ceiling might be kind of high for them. I think like a 9-3 or 10-2 is more realistic for you. Sorry, Florida State fans, I just don't believe that it's all the way in there. I just don't think so yet. And then we got old Alabama Crimson Tide, and surprisingly, guys, they don't have them as 12-0 as a ceiling. They've got them losing a game. And they've got them at floor as 8-4, which is worse than the odds of Ohio, which is kind of astonishing. But you know what? The biggest variable for them is going to be the epic change, right? Bryce Young is gone. Will Anderson Jr. is gone. The coordinator is gone. Both coordinators are gone, replaced by Tommy Rees on offense and Kevin Steele on defense. I mean, look, they didn't have a horrible offense, so they didn't have a horrible offense. Their defense, they definitely needed to get rid of that guy because they had people all over the field, definitely. But I think with Bryce being gone, that's going to be a big thing for them.
Who is their loss? Who is considered their loss?
They don't say who the losses are. They just have one as a loss.
Okay.
I have no idea what that's all about.
I'm looking at the schedule. You got opening up against Middle Tennessee. Then you got Texas. I think Texas might possibly, maybe. South Florida. I think they win that. Ole Miss is probably what is my better bet. I think Ole Miss will be, depending on how their quarterback does. I think that's going to be probably the team. Then you got Mississippi State. I don't see it. You got because I think also that was the one that who lost their coach this past year, right? So I don't see somebody coming in and beating Bama their first year like that. Texas A&M, they had the talent to do it this past season. It's just Jimbo Fisher. I mean, he can recruit like a motherfucker. I just don't think he can develop. Arkansas, I don't see it. Tennessee, I would put Tennessee in that category.
Yeah, me too.
I know you're gonna have a lot of people laugh and shrug that off like what the fuck, but they did it this past season. And this year, you're losing two of your top you're losing two of the top NIL players, and then your two best players. You know that people are saying, which I agree with Bryce Young, Will Anderson. I mean, not even just against the Tennessee game because he wasn't even relevant in that game. He had like one good play, and even then it wasn't that memorable. LSU, I could see a possible upset there. Kentucky, I don't see it. I don't care if Devin Leary's there or not. Chattanooga, don't see it. And Auburn, to be honest with you, I don't even see Auburn doing it. So, I think...
I think that it could be a 10-2 season again. I think that they could lose to LSU and Tennessee again.
I think it could possibly arguably be a three-loss season. I think Tennessee, LSU, and Ole Miss have the best chance of beating them. But then they can even lose 4. They could lose to Texas because last year Texas held on. This year, again, Bama's losing a lot of key players, and then
they are.
You can say, well, they had the best class, which they did, but that doesn't always mean you're going to be successful. You got to figure out who you can plug in if they're going to make a difference and if they can be developed and all that shit. And so there's just no guarantee. So, and then you're really not. You know what I'm saying? And then there's no telling it. Do they hire an offensive coordinator yet, or have they released?
Alabama does. Yeah, Alabama.
Because I can't remember if they. Okay.
Replacement. Okay. Tommy Rees, he's the new one coming in, and then we got number 6 here. It's going to be Penn State. Their ceiling is 11-1. I disagree. I think it's a lot lower than that. I think that 10-2 or maybe even a 9-3, with the floor being 8-4. Now their odds of finishing 11-1 is better than 25%. So ESPN thinks that they'll be 11-1, but their variables again. It's going to be Drew Aller versus hype. So you don't ever know. That's kind of like
what's their floor? What's it say?
8-4.
8-4.
8-4.
So we know that 9 times out of 10 they're probably going to lose to Ohio State and Michigan. I think. Are they considering? Who else?
I don't know.
Maybe Indiana. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Michigan State, Indiana. Maybe. I don't know. I see 2 for sure.
Those 2 for sure. I think that those are definite losses. Could be Indiana. No telling. And again, guys, this 1 through 25 is predictions, and I don't agree with it as much as anybody else does. But they do have number 7 USC Trojans. I don't agree with that at all. They got their ceiling at 11-1. Their floor is at 8-4. Odds of finishing 11-1 are better than 19%. And again, this is all ESPN. It ain't me. It's not Mr. Happy Hour. It's ESPN, and I don't agree a lot of the times with them. So, of course, their biggest variable is going to be the defense, right? In 6 seasons as head coach, Riley has never produced an offense SP plus ranking worse than 5th. So the defense is the biggest problem. And for them to not win their bowl game, ESPN has got to be the dumbest I've ever seen it. How do you put a team that was supposed to be in, the top 4 and then get knocked out not just once but twice, and then they're still above us. But otherwise, anyways, moving on.
I think they lose to Oregon.
Yep. Oregon.
Arguably UCLA.
They'll lose to Tulane. Isn't it too? Don't they play Tulane in the regular season too?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind. That was just a bowl game, and they did lose to Tulane.
It says they have 2 bye weeks. They have September 16th and November 25th. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's a little odd. I've never heard of that. Never heard of that.
I'd be interested to see the Colorado and USC game. I want to see what Coach Prime does against.
Yeah, I think that would probably be a pretty competitive game because he did bring a lot of JSUs.
Utah.
Yeah,
they lost to Utah. I think they could do that again.
Yeah, I think that'll be another L for them for sure. Utah beat them last year; they could do it again for sure.
And then Washington, but yeah, that's debatable.
Right. And then now coming in at number 8, we have the LSU Tigers. They are ceiling at 11-1, which I think I'm going to call BS. I think that's overhype. I think 11-1, they're under 10% to do so. Their floor is 7-5. I'm going to go ahead and give them an 8-4. I'm going to give them 8-4. They don't play Tennessee this year, but they always play Alabama. They always play Arkansas, and I think Arkansas is going to give them a hard time. I think they could beat Alabama. I really do. I don't think that they'll beat Ole Miss, and I think that they're going to have a hard time against A&M because they did this year, right? So I mean, I think I'm more on the 7-5 floor side than I am the 11-1, 100%. Let's see here. And then we have number 9, the Oregon Ducks. They are floored at 8-4, ceiled at 11-1. I would say that I'd probably get them between the two at 9-3. That's kind of where I see the Ducks landing at again. They did finish out, I believe, 10-2 this past year, which is not bad. It's just not the SEC, right? And Bo Nix was in the SEC, and he had a hard time here, and went on to a new.
I mean, hell, even I mean, when it was at Oregon and he played Georgia in the SEC, he struggled, right? So, I mean, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that game because it was, a new team and. I think it was a new coach, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. But I mean, even in his conference or that conference, what is it, Big 10, Pac-12 or Big 12, something like that. I mean, even then he had some losses. So,
oh yeah. So I mean, it's just a flick of a wrist, flick of a hat there on that. And hey, guess who's up next, guys? The Tennessee Volunteers. We got the ceiling here. They're showing 11-1. I think that 12-0 is doable, and it's not just me being.
I think 12-0 is doable.
Yeah, I do too. They got their floor at 7-5. I think that's ridiculous. I think that their floor is 10-2 again on the regular season. 7-5. The only reason they're.
Well, hold on. You said 7-5?
Yeah, that's what they got their floor as.
So real quick, let's go over this schedule and see who the fuck the 5 teams we could lose is. Obviously, we're gonna say that the first 2 is gonna be Bama and Georgia. That's obvious. We know that. But you're gonna tell me that we're not gonna beat a Virginia. You tell me we're not gonna beat an Austin Peay. If you say we're gonna lose to the Gators, now is it possible? Yeah, but is it likely? Nah. Then you got UTSA. People say that's going to be a challenge. Maybe, but I say we take care of business. I say we whoop the every living fucking shit out of South Carolina for revenge.
Oh, yeah.
I say we beat Texas A&M. Now, could they give us a fit? Yeah, but I say we beat them. Obviously, we're going to play Bama. That's going to be I think at this point, that's a toss-up. It's no longer an automatic loss, but a toss-up. Kentucky, we're their daddy. There's a fucking reason we say we're Kentucky's daddy. UConn, I say that we beat the shit out of them. Missouri, I say we beat them by 30 again. And then Georgia and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, I say we win. Georgia, in this new era where you got Kirby Smart recruiting high, winning a lot, that's a loss until we can prove that we can beat them, until we can actually compete against them, for me. So, can we beat them? I say we can, especially this year. Like we said, we don't know the quarterback situation. I don't think they do yet. We know that they got Brock Bowers coming back, arguably the best tight end in college football. Probably is. We know they got Ladd McConkey coming back. Outside of that, we know they got Ra Davis and who is that Missouri receiver? I can't remember his name. But we know we got him. We know they got him coming in, and then the offensive coordinator is a fucking question mark. So, and then we got them in Neyland Stadium. We're about to show them what the fuck it's supposed to sound like. Like we can all hear that we can all say they broke the record for decibels and all that shit. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how that can happen in a stadium that has less than what Tennessee or Bama has. I don't see it. That's me. I mean, hell, Bama and Tennessee ain't even the two stadiums that can hold the most. I think it's like.
I think Michigan's the biggest.
I think Michigan or, damn it, it's a school you wouldn't expect. Hell, even LSU maybe, but I mean the point is, they don't come close to holding the most fans. So I think that was inflated somehow, but I don't care regardless. I say with all those factors coming in, and then being in Neyland Stadium, I say that we have a very, very good chance. I say Bama is the team that's going to give us fits this year. I think we've showed that we can beat them, but I think that with the recruiting class that they're getting and all that, and even with their situation, they're in the same situation. So it's a possibility we could beat both of them. I say it's possible.
Yeah, that's why I said 12-0 is possible, because those are the only two teams that I'm scared of right now, in just the least bit.
I wouldn't say scared. I get what you're going with it, but I wouldn't say scared. I'd say a little frazzled to a degree.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones whose coaches that can prove that they can overcome just about any fucking obstacle. So, but yeah, so the rest of those teams, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what drugs whoever came up with that record, but tell them to get a hold of me. And I've never done drugs before, but I'd like to fucking try the drugs that he's on, because clearly reality doesn't fucking matter to him.
Absolutely not. And now I will state this also. This 1 through 10, it is showing their rank, and their current rank for Tennessee is 6. So that did clear some BS up that I was thinking there. But anyways, before we jump back into it, we're halfway through the list, guys. Again, I want to just go ahead and remind everyone to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would help out myself and Mr. Happy Hour a great deal. And, comment. I mean, all kinds of different features on YouTube that you can do in the meantime there. And now moving on to number 11, which is the Washington Huskies, ranked number 16 on the AP poll. They are ceiling 11-1. Floor is 7-5. There's a few. I don't really get into this conference that much. I mean, if they come to our house or we go there, then I'm going to be all up in their shit. But, as far as like out of conference, I don't really pay attention to much of any of that other than the SEC. So, I mean, hey, 11-1 is probably possible because they're not in the SEC. I think that's very possible. Very, very doable, 100%. And I'm not going to waste too much time. Go on down to number 12, the TCU Horned Frogs, ranked number 19. Wow, dude, their floor is 6-6. And they have them at the ceiling of 10-2, and that's pretty harsh right there. I mean, coming out of being a runner-up of the national championship, the floor of 6-6, which again they did lose Max Duggan. He's gone, and then you got two running backs, 3 receivers that top 500 yards. They're also gone. So it might be a rough rebuild for the Horned Frogs.
Well, they also did acquire some pretty good talent in the transfer portal. And then I think they got a couple of decent recruits in the recruiting trail. So I didn't do my homework on that too much. But you never know.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody expected them to come out and do the shit they did this year. But guess what? They did.
Yes, they did. Yeah, it looks like they lost about 8 players to the NFL.
I wouldn't necessarily say to the NFL. We can say that they lost. I mean, you could argue Max Duggan maybe could be a viable option. I wouldn't say 4th or 5th. I would say past the 5th. There's no telling. I mean, one decent year, one good year. We'll say one good year. I think the running back is. Did they lose the running back Miller? I think was his name. Yeah, I think he'll be a serviceable back in the NFL. Other than they had I can't remember their primary receiver, but he arguably could. But he was almost non-existent in the national championship.
No, not at all. Not at all. And then we're going to jump into number 13 with the Utah Utes. They are ranked number 13 on the AP poll as well. So they are ceilinged at 10-2, floored at 7-5. And again, guys, out of conference, I mean, I hate it. I don't really keep up with out of conferences there, but their odds of finishing 11-1 are better than 7%. So they're probably going to be somewhere around 7-5, 8-4, maybe even like a 6-6 season. That's kind of where I predict them to be at.
Right.
Number 14. I've got a undying hatred for this team just because they are so overrated. Ranked in at number 15 on the AP poll, we got Notre Dame. Notre Dame ceiling at 11-1, and the floor at 7-5.
How?
I don't know.
How? Because they're recruiting? How? The majority of their success from the past was because of a fucking coach who, God, where did he go? Where was it he went?
Crap, it doesn't tell me on here, but I know where you're going with that.
LSU. He went to LSU.
Yeah, LSU.
God, I can't remember his name for the life of me. But most of Notre Dame's success came from that head coach.
Yep. No, it did.
He's not there. How in the fuck are they still ranked this high and they're still finishing terribly? How?
No telling. I think that, I'll say the biggest thing for them was the Wake Forest quarterback transfer from Sam Hartman. I think that might be a big thing, but I don't think he's like, the best there is, the best there ever will be kind of deal. You know what I mean? Definitely not.
No.
Now, number 15, we got the Clemson Tigers, AP ranked at number 12. Their floor is 8-4. Ceiling is 11-1. I think that they'll be 10-2. I really think that they'll be 10-2 again. I think North Carolina's going to take care of them this year. I really do. I think that the Wolfpack's going to get them this time. 100%.
Think they lose another to South Carolina?
Yeah, that too. That could be another L too. So that's kind of where I'm putting the 10 and the 2 at, with South Carolina and the Wolfpack taking them out next year. And then we got number 16, Texas Longhorns, AP ranked number 9. 11-1s are stealing, 7-5 is the floor. I think 7-5 is a little low. They got a lot of good prospects coming in. They got, the brand new Manning boys coming in. I think that he's going to show them some kind of potential. But again, first-year quarterbacks, you never do know. Never do know. Number 17, we got Oregon State Beavers. Their AP rank is 31. I don't know how they even made this list if they're not in the top 25. 6-6 is the floor. Ceiling is 10-2. Again, 6-6 is probably a little low. I think 8-4 would be more realistic. But again, they did get Clemson's quarterback transfer, DJ. I don't know how to say his last name. But
nobody cares. Nobody.
No. But hey, I don't think that that's going to help them. I think that they're probably going to be sitting around 8-4 at the end of the year. We got the Kansas State Wildcats. It's going to be number 18, AP ranked, number 22, 6-6 the floor, 10-2 the ceiling. Hey, 10-2 is probably right on target. And then we got Tulane. Their ceiling is 10-1. Their floor is 7-4. I think that's pretty accurate, seeing that they did take USC out. Then we got number 20 with Ole Miss Rebels.
They took USC out. I thought it was Utah that took USC out of the playoffs.
No, Tulane beat them in their bowl game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's a bowl game, my question is, what players played and what players didn't play?
True.
But regardless, because after losing the championship game, the conference championship game like they did, they arguably had to say that we don't give a fuck about this bowl game, so we're just going to play the shitty people. But even then, you're only as good as your weakest player. So
that's right. That's right. Because Tennessee had all backups just about it, and we took care of business big time against Clemson. So, you know what I mean? So there's that. And then moving on down to Ole Miss Rebels. They're 20th on this schedule here. AP ranked number 18. The floor is 5-7. Ceiling is 9-3. I think that floor is awfully low. I think that their floor is more like 9-3. I don't think they'll lose 7 games because they're going to take care of A&M. They're going to take care of Arkansas. I would assume
8-4. I'll say 8-4 at the worst.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with them. I think 8-4 because they do, they got the second most scoring offense. Tennessee's right ahead of them, and they're a little bit fast. They're a little bit slower on the get off than we are as well. And then coming in at number 21, we got North Carolina Tar Heels. They are ranked AP wise 28th, 21 on this list. 6-6 is the floor. 10-2 is the ceiling. I'd say that they'll probably be around 8-4 as well. Give me just a second. I got to unlock a door. Hold on 1 second, okay? Sorry about that. And then looks like 22, we got UTSA Roadrunners. This is the one that you said that might give us a hard time, but I absolutely doubt it. 6-6 floor, 10-2 ceiling. 23 is Texas Tech Red Raiders, 9-3 ceiling, and 5-7. And then James Madison Dukes, whatever that is. And Iowa Hawkeyes, 10-2 is the ceiling. Floor is 7-5. Guys, that is the end of our podcast tonight. We are going to close with some conclusions. I think that ESPN kind of they did get it right. I think there was a few things that were kind of lopsided, but I think overall they did a pretty good job. And I don't say that about ESPN very often. But I think that they did a good job on that. There's a few things they could have changed, but overall I think it was really, really good. And again, before we go, just another reminder to please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Come in and leave some comments as well. And in Mr. Happy Hour, I am on a wrap there. That was a lot to be said in just that little bit of time there. I didn't mean to go on and on and on there, but I just tried to get that top 25 out the way.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this is Smokey Vaughn and my partner,
Mr. Happy Hour.
You guys have a wonderful night. And again, let's go Vols.
Yeah, have a good one.